I said, if these kids can't read, then I'm not going to propose them. All this, mom, dad, I'm looking you in your face and say this kid can't read. We let them down. School, parents, we let them down. But I'm not going to take them to the next grade knowing that they're not at grade level. It's funny because I'm always like, okay, how are schools successful? Well, schools are successful when they demand greatness. Greatness just doesn't come. We're about to make history. We're about to learn. We're about to grow. We're about to make history. And then, mark my words, it's going to be other school districts, other places around it that's going to be doing this thing. We're going to be the first model. And I'm speaking that into existence, okay?
For booking,
if you can really take the map and drive the instructor inside the classroom and link it to the M step, then everything will move. You see it?
Ladies, third grade teachers, could you tell me, how do you think this professional development was for you today?
PD. It was productive. It was exciting. But we'll never leave Mr. Hurt's advising.
Because the schools that I've worked with, the teachers I've worked with, their scores just go through the roof because what I do is I talk about practical stuff that's practical. Because I'm a former teacher and also I'm a principal, so I'm gonna be telling you guys things that I know will work in your classroom.
for booking, please visit shurtschoolturnaroundspecialist.com.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. This is Sean Hurt, School Turnaround Specialist, with your Saturday morning podcast. And come on in and hit that share button. Man, I cannot wait to get this information out. So give me about 2 minutes as I get all of my Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube people in, and I need you to hit that share button. This is part two of Coaching Matters. So give me a few minutes. I'm excited on today. I am so excited. You just don't know how excited I am. I have so much information to share. So I need all of those principals, all of my friends to come on in, and we're going to have a good time on today. So I just give me a few seconds. I want to get all of my people in. All right. And the mid-year has started. So we got the mid-year has started, and we got all of these people, all of these schools that's doing some big things. And I got so much information to share, to give out. Yes. So once again, I need you to hit that share button. You said you was going to bring a friend. Last week you said, Hurt, I'm bringing a friend. So I need that friend to be here. All right. Just give me a few more seconds. Okay. All right. I want to say good morning, Principal Walls. Good morning, my good friend. Good morning, Miss September. It's good seeing you. Good morning, Dr. Houston. Good morning, Miss Cummings. Miss Cummings. Good morning, Virgil C. I think I said it right. Good morning, Gerald Phillips. Good morning to you. Good morning. Let me bring it down. I'm doing all these things. Good morning, Ms. Brown. Good morning, and Skipper. Good morning, Dr. Oglesby. Yeah, we're gonna be on at 11. So I can't wait to see you. Good morning, Mr. Miss Taylor. Good morning from Baltimore, Maryland. Yes, the Ravens. I think they play today or tomorrow. So hey, listen, my family is a big Lamar Jackson fan. So good morning to you. Good morning, Miss Williams. Good morning, Miss Joy. Good morning, Miss Susan. Good morning, Miss Candace Spencer in the house. Good morning, Miss Candace Spencer. Good morning, Miss Stevens, my dream team in the house. Good morning, Miss Melissa. I'm praying for you and your family. I'm lifting you up in prayer. I know that you're going to be healed. Good morning, Dr. Jeter, my good friend. Oh, I'm fired up. Good morning, Miss Cherry. Good morning, Principal Hicks. All right. Hit that share button. Let me know where you're coming from. So let's get started. Once again, my name is Sean Hurt, the School Turnaround Principal, with my Saturday morning podcast, and we're doing part two of Coaching Matters. Last week we did part one, and I had so much information, I could not get through it all. So this is part 2, and we're going to finish that up. But before we get started, I have a segment called What is Keeping Me Up at Night? What is keeping me up at night? What is keeping me up at night? So for me, the one thing, let me make sure, the one thing that's keeping me up at night, which is a good thing. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could be a good thing. It could be a good thing. So let me tell you what's keeping me up at night. I am currently, this is Sean Hurt, and I'm not going to benefit from it, but I'm currently looking for 2 principals to work in the metropolitan Detroit area at a middle school and high school. I'm gonna say this: I'm currently looking for 2 principals. I'm gonna put it on my social media. But you guys that would like to be principals at a middle school and high school, if you're interested, inbox me. I'll sit down with you. I do not work for the school district, but based on my recommendation, based on me talking to you, there's a good chance that you might get that position. So I'm looking for 2 that's looking to work in the metropolitan Detroit area. So if you know somebody, if you know yourself, I know a lot of us are going through Principal Kafele's assistant principals training. Well, that helps out. If you can say, hey, I've been through Principal Kafele's assistant principals training for the last 3 years, 4 years. I've been on a podcast, which I know who's on my podcast. Then consequently, hey, I know that you are serious about being a principal. I make the phone call. I sit with you. I call my people and I say, hey, I got a candidate. Then you go ahead and interview with the person that is good friends with me. They said, based on my recommendation, I heard they're going to get the job. And voila, you got you a principal position, at a middle school or high school. I'm not going to say where. I'm not going to say the salaries and all that kind of stuff. But you can best and believe that anybody that I'm affiliated with, anybody that I know in education that I've been working with, if I give them my recommendation, that goes far. I love it. We talk about giving people jobs. So now, why are you on a Fantastic Four podcast? Well, stuff like this. Now, if you ready, you get your job. Yep. If you're ready, get your job. Tell me how does that sound? Go and give me some feedback. Give me some feedback if that sounds good. Principal position, metropolitan Detroit. I'm looking for 2 principals at a middle school, high school. You get the job. Only thing you got to do is be qualified. Go and give me some feedback. Tell me how that sounds. So that's what's keeping me up at night. Ms. Stevens says, sounds great. Yeah. That's why we need to be on these podcasts. The other thing, a couple of housekeeping notes is that I'm so excited. I am so excited. We're giving out jobs. I got another announcement next week that I can't let the cat out the bag, but I got it on Friday. I was so excited. I saw that text. That person knows who they are. I am so excited. I cannot wait. That's why I do the work. That's why I cannot work. I cannot wait. So I got that. I'm gonna be in Atlanta. I'll be in Atlanta on February the 3rd. I'm gonna be in my Tucson area, and I'm gonna be in Indiana. So I'm traveling this whole month. I'm doing PD. I'm coming with this. We are transforming schools. We are transforming schools all around the world. All around the world. Schools are moving all around the world. So that's why you need to be on the podcast listening, because the opportunity is in front of you. Listen, next week when I'm able to give out this information about what I received on Friday, it just confirms what we've been doing. And I say we, the Fantastic Four, myself, for the last couple of years. It confirms it. It confirms it. Okay. All right. So that's about it. So let's go ahead and get started. Hit that share button. Let me know where you're coming from. Subscribe to my YouTube page. If you need me to come in and work at your school, inbox me. We're doing some big things around here. We're doing some big things. So part 2, coaching matters. Techniques principals can use to coach their teachers for mid-year adjustments. It is not too late. It is not too late Techniques. Last week we talked about 3 of them, and I got 5 to go. So, like Luther Vandross, I am going to go slow. I'm going to break it down. We're going to go back and forth with some dialogue, and it's going to be good. If you missed last week, just tune in on last week, but I'm not going to recap last week. I'm going to go straight to it. Why is this important? Because this is important because as principals, as leaders, as coaches, mid-year is the most important part to make those adjustments. And how do I make the adjustments? I make the adjustments with my teachers and leadership team. So a lot of times we want to make adjustments, but we don't have strategies. We don't know what to do. And we're doing all of these things, but it is not leading to academic success. So now let's talk about what's going to lead to academic success. Okay. All right. Last week, I stopped off on co-planning because I said co-teaching is a good thing. Co-teaching. So I talked about co-teaching. And then I said, if you have co-teaching, that was number 3, you need co-planning. So now as I am planning, I am sitting down with my teacher that I'm working with. It could be a lot of times our POCs are really not POCs. They're pretty much complaining and moaning meetings. We call it the complaining and moaning meetings. I'm going to complain and I'm going to moan about what's not taking place. Well, during these POCs, we can be doing co-planning to sit down and say, okay, this is what we're going to do on tomorrow together. Let's look at our plans. Let's look at the plans and sit down and let's do that, because that leads to effective co-teaching. Principals, if you want to really improve academic achievement, you want to go to the next level, that co-teaching and co-planning is very important. Like I said last week, when I was a principal, that's what my bread and butter was. Myself, listen to me, myself, Sean Hurt, the principal, my APs, my coaches, we went into the classrooms and did co-teaching for 2 hours based on our schedule. It was so impactful that it lowered the suspension rate at our school. Engagement went up. Teachers, pedagogy, teachers feeling that they're not going to quit the next day, that they're just by themselves. That got thrown out the window because they saw all of us. All of us was the instructional leaders, even though we had these positions and titles as principals and APs. We did exactly what they wanted us to do. We were in the mix with them. Does that make sense? Talk to me. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? We were in a mix with them, doing the work with them. All right. Lesson plan, internalization, protocols during PLC is very powerful. Yes. Principal Edwin made a good point. It is so impactful. It is so impactful. Once again, it does not cost money to do this. You're using your time wisely. Do this. This is non-negotiable. When I say non-negotiable, these are the things that's going to lead to success. Why are we doing the same thing for the last 2, 5, 10 years and we're getting the same results? If you want different results, you have to do something differently. Well, Mr. Hurt, we don't have a budget for that. It doesn't take a budget. Your human resources, and let's reallocate those to do something differently throughout the day. Next thing that I talked about is videos. I kind of hit on that, but I'm gonna talk about that. If you're trying to move a teacher any teacher, take them to the next level. It could be some of your superstar teachers, your first year teachers that's struggling, whatever that fit in. Videotaping a teacher's lesson with permission. I understand unions and things of that nature, but some of us can do it. Some of us have been doing it. I talked to a principal. They said, Hurt, this week, they reached out to me and said, Hurt, that video thing that you're talking about was excellent. I'm doing it and it's moving. So what we did was that we would tape a 10-minute math lesson. Instead of me coming in to observe, I would tape the lesson. After school, I would sit with the teacher, put the put the videotape on a computer or a smart board and allow the teacher to look at themselves teach, and allow the teacher to be able to take our rubric that we have. We had a rubric, and say, compared to this rubric, it was a simple rubric that we had. How would you gauge this 10-minute lesson? That allowed my teacher to see herself. It's sort of like sports. In sports, after the game, you watch the replay. You sit down there and you watch the football game, and you watch the things you did good, the things you got to work on. Basketball, baseball, soccer, track, the same thing. Well, in teaching, why don't we do that? If we want our teachers to get better, if we want instruction to get better, the only way you get better if you watch yourself do it. And then from there, you can coach yourself with your principal to help them to have that conversation. It is not a thing that is I got you, is a good thing, a bad thing. How can we improve teaching? The biggest thing is coaching. Coaching improves teaching in the classroom. How do I become a better coach? Is that I'm actually watching myself teach. The question that I always ask myself is, say, well, what's keeping you up at night, of all things? Why are we not doing that all around the world? We have technology, we have computers, we have all of these things. Why are we not doing that? That is the most impactful way to improve teaching in the classroom. If I improve teaching in the classroom, the kids will grow academically. You have more kids proficient and things of that nature. And what I did was that every month I taped a 5 to 10 minute lesson and I gave it to my teachers. So in the middle of the year, they had four lessons or 5 lessons that they had from September to January. And me as the coach, me as the instructional leader, I saw my teachers get better. They saw themselves get better just by the video. I'm going to stop right there. Give me some feedback. Tell me, does that make sense? What we're talking about is this. Coaching matters. Techniques, principles can use to coach their teachers for mid-year adjustments. These are techniques. These are strategies. Principal law says it makes perfect sense. Principal Spencer, these are principles. Principal Cannon Spencer, using technology is in education. So let's start on Monday using this. How do I know that this works? So I'm on my soapbox because the schools that I'm working with all around the world, Trinidad, Florida, Arkansas, Atlanta, South Carolina, North Carolina, they're using some form of this. And that's why they are increasing their academic achievement. We're scratching our head at the end of the year. Well, how come I only increased proficiency by 3 or 4 points? Or why are we going down? Why are we at CSI school? Why do we have an F on our report card grade for proficiency and growth and blah, blah, blah? Because we're not using the right strategies. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Why would you do something different when I'm telling you that I did it? Many schools have done these strategies and it has worked with the same type of population that you're dealing with, no matter if you're high school, middle school, and elementary. Why try to recreate the wheel? Why try to recreate the wheel? All right, next thing. I told you I'm coming with some fire. I am coming with fire. Now, next thing is this. Effective feedback. Effective. I'm going to say this another time. Effective feedback. What does that mean, Brother Hurt? You're saying effective feedback. What does that mean? First, a lot of times we're giving feedback, but it's not effective. The teachers need to know what are 2 or 3 things that you're looking for prior to me coming in. What are you looking for? And not the teachers, but that should be something that's aligned throughout your whole school. For example, our teacher observation rubric, it was 15 things with the Charlotte Danielson. You know how that looks. I scaled it down and I said, I want to look at 2 things in the classroom. This is me. All 25 teachers, we're looking at 2 things in the classroom. I want to look at engagement and I want to look at the type of questioning, the higher order questioning that you're asking the kids, DOK. Those are the 2 things. I'm looking at engagement and questioning during that particular 10-minute, 15-minute when I come in there. Do those 2 things correctly. So we worked on that throughout the year. We modeled that. We looked at that. During the coaching, we looked at that. So now when it came to feedback, they knew that these are the 2 things that we're looking for. Well, Hurt, what about the other 13 or 14 things? Follow me very closely. I knew that if we did these 2 things correctly at a high level, just all 20 teachers, K through 8th grade, 20 teachers, we do these 2 things at a high level, it's going to impact the other stuff. It's going to impact the other stuff, engagement and DOK questioning. That's that my teacher would tell you, Hurt, was my kids was engaged. Yes, they were. Look, I got the video. Yes. So now while they're being engaged, they're learning. Because if I'm engaged, I'm interested in the lesson and I'm learning. Second thing was that let's look at the questioning that you're asking. What type of level was that? Oh, you're at a DOK3 with this. I see how you were prompting that kid's thinking. I saw that. You said it. I saw how the kids over here and this side was really thinking about that question that you asked. And it had a step 2, step 3. That is great. That is great. So now we're talking about effective feedback with protocols that are reasonable for the teachers. The reason why our teachers are not, man, I told you I was going to be on fire. Hit that share button, hit that share button, hit that share button. The reason why teachers are not effective is because we put too many things on them that they got to do or be responsible for regarding this observation tool. You can't do it. When I was a teacher, I couldn't do it. So why can't we just scale it down, principles, and say, let's look at 2 or 3 things that as a school, we're going to be great at. If nothing else, we're going to be great at 2 or 3 things inside of the classroom. Teachers get it. So now I can work toward these 2 or 3 goals. We call them SMART goals. When you're doing SMART goals, you don't have 12 goals. You have 2 or 3 goals. Well, let's put SMART goals with the teachers. Yes, Mrs. Cummings. Miss Cummings saying, I love this concept. Thank you, Miss Cummings. Hit that share button, Miss Cummings. Give me some love. This is why schools are moving. Look, it's practical. It is so practical. This week, I took time. I said, let me make this even more practical. Let me make this even more. Let's simplify this for the educators. We think because we make this thing big and enormous and all that is going to lead to better teaching. No, simplifying the teaching makes better teaching. Letting the teachers know these are 2 or 3 things we're looking for makes better teachers. Co-teaching, co-planning, videotaping makes better teaching, makes the students learn, makes everybody comfortable, makes everybody loving coming to work, makes everybody understanding that we can accomplish things, makes at the end of the year, you go from an F to a C on your report card grade. You go from 15% to 35% on proficiency. You have 95% of your teachers coming back the following year. You have teachers coming into your school because it is a system and structure in place that will lead to high academic achievement. It's called a system and structure in place that will lead to high academic achievement. All right. Man, I'm looking at my notes. I'm jumping left and right. All right. Okay. Next one. Woo! I'm excited. See, I told you. Data-driven instructional strategies is also a key component for effective coaching. Data-driven instructional strategies. Well, break that down, Mr. Herb. Talk to us a little bit about that. The middle of the year, every school or some schools should have mid-year data, whether it's from iReady, NWA, STAR, whatever benchmark 1 or 2 that you're using, whatever you're using. This is what's taking place all over the world. That mid-year data is so important because it tells you from September or August to January what we are doing, is it effective or not? Because we should be seeing the kids growing and we should be seeing kids more proficient. Well, now as I take that data mid-year, I'm sitting with my 8th grade math teacher and we're looking at the data and we're diving deep into, okay, based on what we did, these are the areas of focus that we need to look at for the next 4 or 5 months based on the data. These are our bubble kids that we need to look at. So doing tier 2 or tier 3, when we push in, these are the 15 kids, that's our bubble kids. They're yellow, and with an extra push, they could become proficient. These are some of the kids that, even though they're low, they're growing. So now we know that tier 1 instruction that you're doing is working. Oh, the data says that 80% of your kids met or exceeded their mid-year targets. This is what the data is saying, Miss Smith, 8th grade math teacher. So what I want you to do, now I'm the principal, I'm coaching this teacher, keep doing what you're doing, because from September to January, 80% of your kids have met their mid-year targets. Why change it? Keep doing what you're doing, because based on this, these are the results that we're going to get at the end of the year. Data-driven instructional strategies. Mr. Brown, only 35% of your kids met their reading targets for 6th grade ELA. We need to do some different tweaks. We need to do some changes. Let's do some coaching so we can go from 35% to end of the year 65, 70%. It is not too late, but we need to do something different. These are the conversations that we have to have, but it can't be our opinions. It can't be our feelings or anything like that. It has to be data-driven instructional strategies. After you get your mid-year data, ladies and gentlemen, principals, superintendents, so if I get my data on Friday, you should be meeting with your staff no less than a week after that to discuss it. I'm going to say this again. You need to be meeting with your staff a week after, no later than, you can't wait 2 or 3 weeks. It's a week after that. So this is what we do. You first meet with your leadership team first. Principals, you meet with your leadership team first. All right. You sit with your mid-year data, because during that leadership team meeting, you're going to be asking some questions. Why is 8th grade Miss Smith scores low? Why is 5th grade teacher got 80%? What's taking place? Math teacher, what's going on? So you have those discussions with your leadership team, because now you're going to be raising some questions. Then after your leadership team meeting, now you have a plan of action that you're going to use for the next 4 months to address the teachers. Then now we have a school-wide meeting with our mid-year data, and we're talking about our mid-year data from a high level. We're not saying Miss Smith, Miss Brown, or Mr. Green, or whatever. We're saying 8th grade math, this is where we're at. 5th grade math, this is where we're at. 6th grade math, this is where we're at. And then those one-on-ones occur with Miss Smith so she can see the data, and now we can have that type of coaching right there. Does that make sense? That's how you strategically do a mid-year data review with your school with 800 students, 80 teachers and parapros and staff members. That's how you do it. Don't do it the way you've been doing it, because you're going to get people frustrated, mad, and want to leave. Do it what I just broke it down to you, and you will see how effective that is. You will see the effectiveness of that. Okay? Just put any questions. I'm going slow. I'm going slow. Last thing is peer coach, peer observation. A lot of times, and once again, you have to have it strategically put. Don't try to do it tomorrow if it's not in place. Wait till the summertime, get all these things established. But this is good. Peer coach, peer observation. Instead of Sean Hurt, the principal, going in, coaching or whatever it may be, or observing, what we did was that we brought other teachers in there to peer coach. So everybody in the building had another colleague or somebody come in to look at their lesson. Now, we were able to do that because our climate and culture, everybody understood it was about moving this academic needle. It wasn't about who's better and who likes whatever. We didn't play that. So now I have another set of eyes. That's your colleagues giving feedback. Now, the feedback is not always negative, it's positive feedback. Yeah, so it's not, oh, well, they're coming in, they're going to find a neck. No. But we had structures, we had the two elements in place, and that peer coaching and peer observation worked tremendously, even for my first year teachers to go into another classroom to look at one of my superstar teachers coach. They're looking at it, but they're observing, but they're like, man, look at how the classroom setup is. Look at how they had a timer on the board. Look at how their reading area was. Look at how they was able to go from tier 1 instruction to tier 2 and get into small groups within a minute or so. They saw it. They actually saw quality teaching, and they was able to take that back to their classroom. A lot of times, once again, our teachers are not saying quality. So how can you become a superstar teacher when you haven't seen superstar teaching taking place? That's why peer coaching and peer observation is good. So I'm going to stop right there. It is 10:29. So I got one more minute. What I would like for you to do is a couple of things. First, we have Create and Educate at 10:30. Make sure you support my sisters in education, Principal Kafele at 11, and Josh Tarver and Dean Packer on Sunday at 7. Second is that if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to my YouTube page, hit them emojis, tell people about it. I want more people to understand that we can really make a difference. The other thing is that if you like for me to come to your school to do this work, I'm coming in. Just inbox me. Let's set it up. Someone last week, a school in Atlanta, they inboxed me. I'm going down there February the 3rd. I'm about to take that school. They are a CSI school, low report card grades. In 1 year, I guarantee that school is about to jump 2 report card grades because they ready. I got it. The last thing is that if you have anybody who's looking to become a principal in Detroit metropolitan area, inbox me. I am, based on my recommendation, they called me this morning. They said, Hurt, I need 2 principals. Do you know someone? I know you on a podcast. I need somebody. I said, let me tell my podcast people, my principals, assistant principals, hey, so now I am able to give you a job based on my recommendation. Please do not take this for granted. If you're quality, you want to be a principal, you're in the Detroit metropolitan area, middle school, high school, I'm looking for 2. You know how to find me. So thank you very much. I'll see everybody next week. Subscribe to my YouTube page. Look at my social media stuff. I love you. We're going to have a good week this week. I'm praying for everybody on my podcast. Thank you very much. Much love. Show me some emojis. Give me some feedback. Tell your friends. Watch this PLC. Watch this podcast. Do your PLC. Let's have a good week.